Judgment for sale, and that's the issue we're talking about today. Now, what a day. You see, as a person, I find 1966 as a major turning point in our history. And then we tried our luck every now and then, and I think 79 was also major. And I keep saying that, 79, Chairman Rawlings had a perfect opportunity of turning this country into whatever it is, but hey, this is the country we are now. But today's news, I don't know where to place it among these two events. Folks, if your judicial service or if your justice system is literally for sale, and you live in a country where the people who can really afford it are in the minority, you ask yourself, what then happens if somebody who feels, I don't have that much deep pocket, but my rights are being infringed. Do I take my justice now, or do I try my luck and see? That's what's holding us together. Oh, you get an international business partner who flies in and thinks, well, Nana Sakwa, you have beautiful land in Edumasan, I'd like to partner you. But if anything happens, you and I have to go all the way back to England, Switzerland, or wherever I come from to try this case because I don't trust your system. How do we move forward from here and build confidence immediately back into our judicial system? Because, justice is literally everything that holds this country or any civilization that keeps you in check. The fear of knowing that, look, you could be tried, and the happiness of knowing that, look, I would get fair justice. What happens today when Anas reveals this tape where he has painstakingly done investigation and showed a number of judges and judicial service workers who are clearly doing things that are not justifiable? And that's what we are going to talk about today. And then the big question of, should this tape be shown or should this tape not be shown? That's also another issue. And maybe we even go to the phones and find out from you at home. Would you rather this expose was shown, or talking about it is enough? Let the AG, let the Chief Justice act immediately and restore justice. Today is a very, very big conversation. My name is Nana Sakwa. This is PM Express, and with me in the studio is a big person to talk about the big issue. I have myself, lawyer Frank Davis, who is the immediate past president of the Greater Accra Bar Association, and I'm sure he has an insight of what goes on behind the scenes, what you and I don't see. Frank, thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you very much too. Thank you very much, Nana.
Frank, let me start by saying, I've been really, I haven't jumped up and down enough, but this, I place it as a major turning point in the history of Ghana. I mean, this is your justice system laid bare, naked, doing what they're not supposed to do. You being am I blowing it out of proportion, or you being the lawyer? How do you see it?
Wow. Anyway, good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners. I'm lost for words, but for a trained lawyer, and for that matter, the president, the immediate past president of the largest grouping of lawyers in Ghana, Greater Accra constitutes arguably the largest number of lawyers we have in the country. It is a sad commentary, and I must say a black page on our justice delivery system. It is sad for two primary reasons. I'm not being judgmental because the issues involved are going to be thoroughly investigated. But on the threshold, what we have been told and fed with, it is incredibly sad, because when a judge takes a judicial oath to administer justice to all manner of persons without fear or favor and without inherent discrimination, it is worrying when it turns out that our justice delivery system is not up for sale. There has always been this perception about the judiciary being corrupt. Social commentators have made pronouncements and actually asked for evidence. Our Chief Justice has on various occasions spoken to the issue and have asked litigants who have fallen victim to this justice for sale to make the appropriate complaints. In fact, a desk has been purposely set up by the CJ for that purpose. If at the end of the day we work very hard as lawyers, do all the research, take legal fees from our clients, go to court, and at the end of the day, it is that judgment was not rendered on the merits of the case, but because of monetary considerations, financial enhancements. It's not something that for a trained lawyer I can be proud about. That's the first aspect. And it's also equally sad when in all this milieu you have officers, judicial officers, who are also complicit. So you ask yourself, where do you go from here? It's a painful subject to discuss for a lawyer. But I am gladdened by what the actions that have been taken by the Judicial Council so far. This should demonstrate to all and sundry that this is not about to be swept under the carpet like all other cases. And I think this should be a very useful reminder to the other arms of government, the executive and the legislature, that if the judiciary has been caught in such a web, and this is the swift action they have taken, all the other arms of government should also lift to it. Today it is the judiciary, but we have heard of other instances involving the executive and the legislature, and I don't think the swiftness of action that has been demonstrated by the Judicial Council has happened in other cases. So yes, it's a sad commentary on our profession, it's a sad commentary on the justice delivery system, but I'm very optimistic that what has been started will get to a useful end. We will see light at the end of this dark tunnel.
Frank, I think
most unfortunate.
The perception has always been there. There are thousands and thousands who have, in their own way, compromised the judges. What is it about this evidence that has shocked us? Because, I mean, the stories have been there, the perceptions have been there. Lawyers have complained, you have to pay something to get your photocopy, you have to pay something to get your file put on the top. But what is it about this evidence that's finally shocked us, even though we knew that was what the system was?
I have not seen whatever evidence the Judicial Council has seen. But listening to the Judicial Secretary, Justice Alex Pukwachampo, he has indicated to all that he saw the tape. So other members of the Judicial Council have also seen it. And if they've been pushed by the revelation to take the swiftness of measures that they have taken, then I can only say that the evidence is deep. At least we have had snipers of what is in store for us. I don't know whether Anas will still go on with this major broadcast of viewing, which is supposed to be on the 22nd of September. I don't know whether will be on, but
will
be very pleasant for all of us.
There are two schools of thoughts. Are you in the school of thought that said, go ahead, show it? Or are you in the one that says, look, enough is enough, just hold it. Let's discipline those who are involved, but hold it.
You see, in this country, we are sharp at criticizing, but we are slow at implementing the effects of our criticism. If indeed we are all saying that what has happened should never have happened, what is the fear in showing it?
Would that not cause a total reality, finally facing you, the breakdown of the justice system, knowing that, listen, this is my fate and I can't afford this?
I honestly don't think it will be a breakdown. That should rather let people understand that the Judicial Council, or for that matter, the Judicial Service, is about to live up to its responsibilities. We have to name and shame. You see, this is the first step. If such a decisive decision is taken, and we urge for the whole world to see, those other judges who are also doing it, will now watch their back. They'll look over their shoulders now.
You don't think they are threatening enough now? Let me acknowledge Samson Ladi, my brother, Ayanini, who is also a lawyer. Samson, you're welcome. Hello?
Hi, Nana.
Well, Samson, today, when I was telling your brother Frank Davis here that it's a turning point in the history of Ghana. And in my books, 1966, 1979, I think were great dates in the history of Ghana. And today, I don't know where to place it amongst these dates. Because if you live in a society where you know that, listen, every time I have to face justice, I need to find money. And the average wage a day is 7 cedis, which most people are earning a day. Do you then take your own justice, or do you just take chances to see if I can get justice? And here we are. My question to Frank before I was coming to you was, do we go ahead and show this tape to society to realize what's happening, or the shock is enough, let the Judicial Service clean up from behind the scenes and let's move on?
And I find this to be the most effective sedative that we need. Let it be shown in its full length. Let everybody see it. And let me say, grieving to my senior, very respected senior, Frank Davis, you are speaking to. And coincidentally, I don't have his permission, but there was a day I walked up to court and I met him. Something must have happened. One of the situations that I was describing this morning, where you have a situation where a judge becomes unduly overbearing on an issue, and it sounds snobbish, and somehow wants to dismiss you. You are there to advocate the interest of your client, and some judge sounds as if you cannot be heard in their court. I remember there was this occasion I met him, and he was visibly angry, so unhappy. And I'm sure he will not like the fact that I'm talking about it. But you see, we encounter situations where sometimes you are left with no option but to ask yourself, what is wrong with this judge? What is going on? So I say, let's show this to the whole world. But the measures that are supposed to be taken, if they are swift, if they are effective, as we are beginning to see what the Judicial Council together with the Chief Justice are beginning to demonstrate, if they follow it and ensure that nothing is left on the way, in the way, I'm better for it. Ghana justice system will be better for it. I must say that, if you must have heard me that I say that let us learn to isolate those who are caught in this shameful act. Let's isolate them and name them and shame them. Let us not use this to overgeneralize and to make it sound as if the system is a hopeless one.
Something, let me come in here.
Yes.
And let me go to tradition a little bit. I mean, the truth that will break up a country, you normally, hold back that truth and, deal with the consequences. I mean, this is a potential catastrophe.
Nana, we have been talking about perception of corruption in the judiciary for how many decades now? I can remember reading and hearing Chief Justices upon Chief Justice upon Chief Justice repeating the refrain that there is corruption within the justice system and that it ought to be fought. They have been asking for the evidence because, like the Supreme Court said in 1992, a multitude of suspicions put together cannot constitute proof. This is the situation where you have hardcore material evidence. Let the evidence speak for itself. Let them take all the action, the right disciplinary measures that have to be taken. But I say, let it not end there, because the things that are alleged and what we are aware, some of us have the privilege of first hand what is being spoken about now, means that these named individuals cannot escape the wrath of the law.
Okay.
Let them face beyond disciplinary measure the question of misconduct, which is punished through a process in Article 146 and 151 for the lower court judges and 146 for the superior court judges. Let that go on, but after that, this is crime.
Okay.
Let the law take its course and let the prosecutions happen.
Okay, I agree with you. Now hold on for me. Let me come to Frank. Frank, yes, show the evidence to the CJ and the Judicial Council and let them act, but not to the Ghanaian populace.
You see, Nana, I have listened to you on radio, and I must say I'm a bit taken aback. I was a line of question, but I didn't think that this should come up. You see, the Judicial Council and the Chief Justice, they have seen the tape. They have seen the tape.
And they are acting.
And they are acting. And from what I heard, I listened to the commentary run by your guy who was there. I think it was Afred Nwama, one of them. And there was supposed to have been a heated discussion, a debate actually, as to whether the tape should be viewed or not. And they came out quite clearly from the meeting that they were given something to go ahead to have the tape viewed, and that it was entirely his discretion whether he wanted to go on with it or not. Now, if the Judicial Council and the Chief Justice, in their infinite wisdom, have decided that in view of what is going on, let us put it in the public domain, who am I to say that it should not be viewed? I think it should be viewed. You see, in this country, we are fast at criticizing. But when it comes to the meaty, when we have to implement, then people start shying away. Say, I mean, you are a traditional leader. Yes, I say, now, you see, Peninsula heading, Penny Manti. And I say, look, let us show this thing for the whole world. You see, whether we try to hide it or not, the harm is already caused. It is how we go about to resolve it that will show our resolve that we want to fight it. Now, if this step is shown, I mean, I don't think I owe any apology, with the greatest of respect. We bow to them when we go to court. Okay? I have mates who are lawyers, who are judges. I go to their courts, I bow before them, because they are the font of justice. I don't owe any judge any apology. if that judge is found to be corrupt. Okay, I don't owe any such judge any apology. The respect I have for a judge to be a fair arbiter of justice is totally misplaced and destroyed if I get to know that you are corruptible. Okay, now our justice delivery system, whatever. The cardinal principle is the audi autorem partem rule. A right to a fair hearing and the right of natural justice. You should be heard on a complaint. The process has begun. The 22 lower court judges, the Chief Justice has that power. Of course, he has asked them to step aside whilst the matter is investigated. For the Superior Court judges, we know the Constitution says you have to go through a process of impeachment. That is what the Chief Justice has started. Let us see how the process rolls. But for God's sake, let us see what has happened. You see, I can't for the life of me understand and believe that a judge will stoop that low and go and meet a potential bribe litigant at the Accra Mall and pick tubers of yam and a goat or sheep. That is low, that is cheap, that is disgraceful.
Let me come to my brother Samson. Hello, Samson.
Yes, Nana.
Yeah, before I go to the break, Samson, you see, it's not like I'm trying to protect something, but you see, all the 27 million of us pin our hopes on lawyers and police and this justice system that because they are there, no one is going to attack me, and even if I'm attacked, because they are there, I'll get a fair justice system. If we tell them that, listen, now you need to go and pay your way out, it becomes a free-for-all society. So it's the justice situation in there that's making me panic. Not necessarily that I want to protect somebody who's a wrongdoer. I mean, if it was just an average CEO of a company or a politician heading a department who did something wrong, well, hey, who cares? Do whatever it is. But this is a judicial system, and everybody everywhere pins their hope that Midobeko Court may you say. But now knowing that, no, I can't do that because I'll need to pay my way out. Is that not a dangerous precedent?
When the system goes through the process of sanitization and it is properly sanitized, people will have even, firmer confidence in the process.
So it is a good way of turning things around.
Yes, and I believe that that is the opportunity that this presents to this country. I am sure, like my senior just said, that if you have justices of the Superior Court, if you have members of the Judicial Council, very wise, intelligent persons, come to the conclusion that the showing of the video should be the discretion of the author, then it should give you an indication that they who are in charge of the system do not think that it is okay to act in a discriminatory manner, to treat these judges differently.
Samson, let me take.
If it were a police officer, if it were some politician who are human beings and article, and the Constitution says we are equal before the law, all of us, we would have displayed them. And I hope and pray that a judge who finds it proper to parade a goat thief in a town for the whole world to see that guy stole a goat, I wish and pray that judge is one of these judges.
Samson, let me take a break here and come back. But tomorrow on my show, that's my opinion, I was going to do a show called I Told You So, because on the 20th of March 2014, the topic we did was cheap freedom and expensive justice. And cheap freedom and expensive justice. So I'm going to go for a break, and then when I come back, we'll continue this discussion.
Before the break, let me just chip in on what...
just briefly, and then yeah.
You see, when you cleanse and you purge a system, it becomes a better product.
Cleaning and purging become a better product. Let's wait and see. Well, thank you very much for staying. Judgment for sale. And as I said before the break, 20th of March 2014, and that's my opinion, the topic we treated was cheap freedom and expensive justice. How freedom is, we have this used in discipline to mean freedom, and justice is just becoming the preserve of the elite in society. And here we are today with the evidence, not hearsay, not hearsay. But joining us now is Justice Emil Short, a very fine gentleman by all standards. But here we are tying them all with the same brass. Oh, we know, bribery, no moji. Hello, Mr. Justice Emil Short. Have I got Justice Emil Short on the phone? We lost the phone. Okay, try and get him back. But I'll put that question to you, even though you're not there. But you look at a man like Justice Emil Short, and the average man who hasn't read his CV or know the justice for, that's what they do, and they may be justified.
No, I honestly don't think so. You see, you can have a long brush to paint everybody because of what.
Okay, let me get him. I think I've got him back now. Hello, Justice Emil Short.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us this very sad day for the judicial service and the country at large. Now, I'm saying that I know your credibility, I know your CV, but here we are today. The average man will tie all of you with the same brush. How are you feeling?
Well, it's indeed unfortunate, that these revelations have come to light. I haven't heard the audio, nor have I seen the video. But based on what I have read in the graphic, it seems there is some much credence to the allegations made against, the judges. And I think it is particularly troublesome in the sense that we have about 174 judicial officers involved and 34, high court and circuit court judges. But I think at this stage we must allow the due process to take its course. These allegations, and there is always a presumption of innocence against those who have been accused.
Okay.
And so they must be given a fair hearing, and the law must take its course. Already, I think the Judicial Council has taken some action in suspending some of the judges, and a petition has been submitted to the President, which has been referred to the Chief Justice, where the Chief Justice finds that there is a reasonable case against the High Court judges. Then, of course, she would have to set up a committee to commence impeachment proceedings.
Justice Shaw, let me come in here and find out. Is it scarcity that's caused this, where there aren't enough judges, there aren't enough lawyers, there aren't enough courtrooms, and therefore we are all sort of rushing to either get heard? I mean, what's causing this? Because as far as we know, the justice, you look after fairly well. Maybe you may want more, but I don't think they are lacking.
You mean what is the cause
of all this bribery? I mean, is it because there aren't enough judges and we're all, chasing one judge, or we're all chasing one secretary with one printer? Why this inducement?
Well, I mean, corruption is it's not confined to any particular institution. I mean, we've had barometer surveys. We have Transfer International release their perception indexes and so on. Various institutions have been implicated. Normally at the top of the list is the police service. And the judiciary has also been implicated. So corruption is a human phenomenon. Of course, it is disturbing when it occurs in the judiciary where you go to get justice. You know, so.
But with the rate with the spate of corruption in the judiciary, and I'm wondering why. I mean, if one or two slip through the net, we say it's a human institution. But per this, it could tell you that it's almost like a norm, where there are actually a few who are not doing it, but the majority probably are.
Well, I don't have the statistics. So far as the judges are concerned, we are told that behavior, and that these 34 represent the minority. So we don't have the exact statistics to be able to draw any conclusions as to the extent of corruption within the judiciary. Definitely, the numbers are troubling, you know, in terms of the number of judges that are involved. Of course, this investigation was over a period of 2 years, we are told. You know, and it is unfortunate that it implicates high court and circuit court judges, you know, judges at a higher level.
Just we have a figure of 10%. Are we saying that there are 340 justices nationwide, or?
I'm not sure about the figures.
Okay.
As to how many judges we have nationwide.
Okay. I'm being told we have more than 340 anyway. So I was just wondering where that 10% came from. Going forward, Justice, what can be done to restore that confidence? Because I'm on the school of thought that hold back that tape, clean up the system, and let people build faith in the justice system. Because when it goes, then it's you know, one for all, God for us all.
Well, I think that, you know, a lot will depend on how decisively and swiftly this matter is dealt with by the Judicial Council and the Chief Justice. To the extent that public confidence may have been undermined by these revelations, you know, the general public will be looking to what action is taken by the Chief Justice and the Judiciary, the Judicial Council, and also I think that after this matter is dealt with, there is a broader issue that we must look at. You know, we have developed a national anti-corruption plan.
Sure.
One of the major strategies in this plan is prevention. We have public education, we have prevention, and then we have effective investigation and prosecution. Under prevention, one of the important approaches or strategies is reforming institutions or states that have been declared or are perceived to be prone to corruption, looking at the systems, the policies and procedures, and the processes in such institutions, and, you know, finding a way to plug the loopholes and the opportunities that are created for corruption. That is an exercise that we must implement as quickly as possible. You know, when you look at some of our institutions like Passport Office, DVLA, these are institutions that, you know, Anas has gone into DVLA before. He's done some investigation into customs, and there have been reports recently about what happens in the Passport Office. Now, unless these institutions, you have a task force to look into the procedures of these institutions and identify where the loopholes are, where opportunities are created for corruption, and find measures of, blocking those opportunities, refining the procedures, and making sure that, procedures are streamlined and processes are redesigned and re-engineered so that you reduce the facilities and opportunities for corruption. We would have these incidents recurring. So that is one of the important strategies in the National Anti-Corruption Plan.
Bishop, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that, and glad for lending us your time on the show. Let me come to studio, and Frank, he's made some statement. But before I even come there, if you lived abroad and you had a case, the courts, the litigation thing seems to be like the very last option. 9 out of 10 times it will be solved before you get to court. I find here we probably even start from court before we even try arbitration or something. I don't know. Well, we seem to be very quick to go to court.
You see, the ADR system has been with us from our forebears. In the olden days, people didn't used to rush to court that early. Most of them are not. You gathered before your head of family or a traditional leader or someone to the His palace or something, and they go into the matter. And because we had faith, that absolute belief in their integrity and proven honesty those days, we used to go to them for justice. But I'm sorry, you're a traditional leader, but the kind of leaders we had. Yes,
we don't have them
and the same people we have. So it's a two-way system. So now people opt
for the court system
to go to the courts and have.
But again, let's say if I came to see you, Frank, and I had an issue. Normally you would try and not take me to court by dealing with the other person's lawyer, so that we don't take the matter to court. Let us solve it here. But we seem to...
No, you see, now when the issues involved are not that intricate, let's say somebody comes to see you and says that somebody owes him money. Well, you can easily, first you start by writing a letter, putting a demand notice, invite the person to come for talks. When there's a consensus, you agree, okay, what amount of interest are you going to pay on the lost money? If those issues are agreed, then you can have a settlement. But where you even write a letter and put a demand notice, and that letter is not even acknowledged, that forms the basis for a settlement.
Okay, my next one is the intake of law students, and they seem to be again there, whether it's a perception or it's reality, that there are some cartel who are blocking or regulating how many lawyers come into the system. And lawyers are vital to any democracy or any civilization. You need lawyers to interpret the law, which is sacred, and the judges who are literally gods on earth. But you don't seem to want to have too many lawyers in. What's the problem?
See, a functional product should be accommodated at the end of the day. We have a situation where now there's so many university and university colleges offering law as a discipline, but we have only one Ghana School of Law.
GIMPA is now added, or?
No.
Oh.
GIMPA does not equal up to the School of Law. GIMPA runs courses for LLB.
Okay.
Which will eventually take you to the law school. So after your LLB or your BA law or whatever, you need necessarily to go to the law school before you can become a qualified lawyer. So you attain your first degree, then you get to the law school. The intake of the law school is such that it cannot accommodate all these large numbers who take the first degree. So invariably, there has to be a system where a number will be chosen, which number the law school can accommodate. For now, it's been pegged at 250 lawyers.
That's a year or
postgraduate for the program for a year. So if you don't make the 250,
but what did it cost to extend it to 500, 600, 800? I mean, how much?
Where are you going to accommodate them? Where are you? So now they have been there is Cape Coast. You see, there is a regulated system. You don't just get up and give people the accreditation to train lawyers. There has to be a minimum qualification for which somebody can be accredited or recognized as a training school for lawyers. Okay, it's different to have your LLB, and it's different being qualified as a lawyer to be called and enrolled to the bar. So that is the exclusive domain of the Ghana School of Law. Now, the Ghana School of Law is trying to have campuses outside the law school itself, so that the intake.
And I thought they've had a campus in Gimpa now, or they don't?
The campus in Gimpa runs their own courses for LLB.
Okay.
Not the one that is the exclusive domain of the Ghana School of Law.
Oh, I see. I see.
So unless we have improved infrastructure, and which can accommodate more lawyers, it's unfortunate, but nothing else can be done about it.
But do we need to expand to get in more lawyers?
Of course, of course. I mean, if you're training, I mean, the ultimate desire of every lawyer, of every undergraduate student who reads law, is that I become a lawyer. I can't go to Zenith College, I can't go to Central University College, I can't go to the Methodist College, I can whatever, so many other colleges, and say I'm an LLB degree holder when at the end of the day I'm not a lawyer. I mean, there's no useful need in doing that. So invariably, everybody who goes to the first degree of acquiring either the LLB or the BA law would want to be a lawyer.
I'm going to take a break, and then when I come back, Frank, I'm coming back to you. But I want to find out if I'm languishing in Sawam, and I was tried or banged in there by a judge whose names suddenly appear. Do I just say, hey, look, because there was something really fishy about my judgment, and I want a retrial? What do I do? Stay tuned and coming. Thank you very much for staying. Judgment for sale. With me in the studio is lawyer Frank Davis, with the immediate past president of the Greater Accra Bar Association. And just before the break, I was questioning. Now, the Judicial Council has released a statement and says the Judicial Council has suspended 22 circuit court judges and magistrates effective 10 September 2015, following damning video evidence detailing bribery. In a statement signed by Justice Opoku Achampon, the Judicial Council has also put 12 High Court justices under investigation. The statement was released Wednesday after a crucial meeting of the Council to consider measures against the judges named in the petition presented by investigative journalist Anas Arimiyaw. Anas has sent two petitions, one dated 31st August and addressed to the President, and the other 2nd September 2015 to the Chief Justice, following every procedure that he has to do to get this story out. But if I was languishing in jail and one of these guys, collected a tube of yam, banged me in, I mean, can I just say, look, I want my case reheard because I don't think he was fair? Would I have a case? No, and you won't. Is it because? Well, that's not fair.
No. Because for every decision which is given, there is always an appellate structure. If you're convicted by a magistrate and you think your conviction was wrong in law, that the magistrate erred, you have recourse to go to the High Court for a determination of your conviction on appeal from the High Court, you have the opportunity to go to the Court of Appeal and then to our apex court, the Supreme Court. So the mere fact that you have been convicted by a judge who finds himself in the same cells with you.
Oh my God. I mean, is that a reality?
But that is what we are going to see soon.
I mean, would they have to build a separate prison for them?
Oh, but how can it be a separate prison for them? They have been sending people there, so they should know what happens.
Join them there.
Yeah, they should know what happens there.
No, but I mean, their life could be at risk. I mean, knowing that, this is a judge.
Well, you take an oath, and nobody puts you to it. Nobody puts a gun to the head of any lawyer to become a judge. You see, immediately you move yourself into that bracket, then you should know what it entails. Nobody puts a gun at the head of a lawyer. We all train lawyers. I'm at the bar. I could easily have opted for the bench, but I've decided to stay at the bar because that is where I think belongs to me. If you have also opted to be on the bench, do what is required of a judge. You were supposed to dispense justice fairly, and that's the judicial oath you take. You take that oath and you look at litigants before you and you pervert justice. You are not fit to live among humans, because in the Bible that is the greatest crime you can commit, to pervert justice. You see, and if you see the passion and the emotional distress we go through as lawyers together with our clients when you are battling a case in court and you don't know your fate because your case is competing against another person's case. And there's supposed to be somebody there who is at the end of the day going to look at the respective cases and say that your case on the face of the law is a stronger case than the other. And where you think justice will be dispensed, at the end of the day you get to know that the arbiter, the fair and final arbiter, has compromised himself and has taken money to resolve your case. How would you feel? What do I say to my client who has come to me?
And you've assured him that we have a case.
And I have looked at the brief. Lawyers only act on instructions. I have looked at the brief. From my limited knowledge of the law, I tell you, look, this is a case we can easily get around. Look, your options are 70-30, 80-20, 90. For every lawyer, every trained lawyer should know you are as good as your brief. If your brief is not good, you can't blame anybody. But if the brief is bad, we all go to court. The clients, apart from not being literate and learned in law, also have some little common sense. So if the case is going in a certain direction, they will know. And if at the end of the day, because sometimes we go to court and our clients ask us, but those who speak to you in English, but what happened? Can you explain to me what happened in court? So don't worry. We have an appellate structure. The ones who can speak English, I say, lawyer, this is also what you. I mean, I'm anti-say, yeah, this is it. Because within his or her of hearts, the client knows that his or a lawyer has made up a strong case. Not to talk about the legal aspect, but law sometimes also equals to common sense. If the person owns land A and somebody is litigating with the person over land A and that person does not even have documents covering the land to start with, there are many other permutations to land litigation. But if on the threshold that person, he or she is litigating, doesn't even have a document to the land, then at the end of the day a judge tells him or her that, look, even in the face of that, you've lost. You should be able to explain. You see, when a judge errs on the side of the law, you know that it was genuine. You have an appellate structure to go through. But when it is obvious, patently obvious, that this judgment has not been rendered according to legal jurisprudence, there's cause to worry.
There are only 34, justices in this case, and I think 170 workers. But how bad is it out there?
Look, if one judge, you don't need to have 34 of them. If a single judge is corrupt, that's a problem. You see, you don't need an army. If a single judge is corrupt, for me, it is a problem. You see, we should have a system where we know that where we have gone, we are sure that at the end of the day, there is going to be absolute delivery of justice. I would like, as a lawyer, to lose on the law, because it's not cast in iron, it's not cast in stone that you should win all your cases. No, it's only a lawyer who doesn't understand his profession who will think that you should win every case. But let me lose on the side of the law, but not according to somebody's prejudices and personal whims. No. So if a single judge is corrupt, it's a worry for trained lawyers and for the country. So we don't need numbers.
So we shouldn't even look at the numbers.
We don't need numbers.
We need that clean system.
If we need a clean system, we don't need a single judge to be corrupt. They should all be upright. That is why they are there. That is why they've taken a judicial oath. And that is why they have the protection and the safeguards they have as lawyers.
Will the computerized system help so that you don't have to have that face contact? Because, you hear lawyers say, I needed my stuff photocopied, I needed my stuff posted, or I need, and everybody wants weight put on whatever it is you are placing in front of them.
For every system, and I can assure you, for every system. Look, even in the established jurisdictions, are we not saying that some of those judges, they have suffered the same fate? Mm-hmm. Look, in every system, there are bad nuts, but they should learn how to pinch themselves. See, whether you computerize whatever you do, at the end of the day, those involved should learn how to pinch themselves. If you learn how to pinch yourself, you can overcome any obstacle. But if you don't pinch yourself, you always fall prey.
On the subject of pinching yourself, tomorrow on That's My Opinion, our topic is Ghana, a country built on hunger. No, maybe I should change it to a country being built on hunger. That's going to be our topic tomorrow, and the subject of pinching ourselves will come into play a lot. I want to say thank you to Tantees Fashion, who makes my shirts, and you can get Tantees on 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. I want to say thank you very much to Frank Davis, who's graced our show this evening. Frank, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nana.
Say thank you to Aisha Ibrahim, Evans Mensa, Malik Dabu, all doing productions behind the scene, and Azalu. If I don't give him funds, he'll come and kill me. Azalu is the one directing the show. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thanks for watching.